Hi, my name is Coco and I'm from Ghana.
Hi, my name is Christopher and I'm from Nigeria.
And we're back with another episode of the Coco and Chris podcast, which is a podcast for men looking to improve their lives in every single aspect. So today's topic is going to be 10 more healthy masculine values that you should be embodying as a man. So without any further ado, let's dive straight into the video. So the first healthy masculine value that we're going to be talking about in this video is abundance. Now, what is abundance? Abundance is a mindset. It's a state of mind. It's believing there's more opportunity. It's believing that even though you got your heart broke, you still can love someone. You're abundant in love. It's being able to share your excitement and your happiness. You generate that energy from within and spread it. You know how when someone laughs and the person has a hysterical laugh, it tends to get everyone else in the vicinity to laugh. At least anyone who has a decent sense of humor around will laugh when they hear those kind of hysterical laughs. So that's one way a person can be abundant. But as a man, many things will be required from you. And in all aspects, you have to adopt a mindset of abundance. So that's all I've got for that first point. I want to hand it over to Chris to hit you with the second point.
The second point that I'm going to talk to you about here is so important, and I don't want this to just pass you by so easily. And the reason why I say this is because in order to be able to achieve anything in your life, you need this one value, and it's called, you ready? It's called sacrifice. There is a scripture in the Bible, I believe it's Galatians 6 verse 7. It says, "Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that he shall also reap." So long as you're here on earth, I don't know if you finally go to Mars, if Elon Musk's plan to take us out of Earth and, find a way for us to be able to live on Mars actually comes to pass. Maybe in this generation, maybe not in our own lifetime, but so long as the Earth is concerned, you need to sacrifice to be able to get something back. I don't know what it is that you're chasing. I don't know what it is that your goal is, but sacrifice is the only way that you're going to be able to achieve something. So if you want to make a lot of money, you're going to have to put in a lot of work. I'm sure you already know that. You're going to have to be an entrepreneur in many cases, right? Or probably you're going to have to work with somebody who's an entrepreneur and be something like an executive, like an entrepreneur, basically. And we live in a world today where a lot of people are looking to get something out of nothing. And really, that's how you build a criminal mindset. That's how you build a nefarious mindset. I don't want that for you. We have guys looking to be rich, right? But they don't want to work hard. You have women who want somebody who's going to be a provider, but they don't even know what it is to be a wife. They don't even know what it is to follow a man's leadership. They don't even know what it is. I know many of you are going to hate this word, submit and follow a true leader, right? I'm not even sure that they don't even know how to spot a true leader when they meet one, right? So sacrifice is actually putting in the work. Remember the scripture that I said. What you put into the universe is exactly what you're going to get out. You ever heard of garbage in, garbage out? That's exactly what this is. And with that, I'll pass on number 3 on to Coco.
Right. So the third healthy masculine value that we believe you should be embodying is fairness.
Oh, boy.
Having a mindset of fairness. A lot of, I would say, men and women. Initially, I was going to say just men, but in these days, women too. A lot of people think just because you wear their pants in a situation, you should just have your way and not care about the rest, right?
No empathy.
No empathy, right? No empathy. If you haven't watched the last video that we made, check it out. I spoke about empathy in the last video, so check it out if you have some time. So many people think that when they're in a position of power, they can just act any way with impunity. And that is one of the traits that I would say makes a person very effeminate, because not being fair is a very selfish mindset to have. And personally, I think having a very selfish mindset is generally effeminate. That's why a lot of people say most women are very self-absorbed, right? That's just how they are. Not all of them, but most have it in them. They think of themselves first. Most human beings think of themselves first. But men, in God's wonderful design, we're created with this aspect of us where we feel like we need to serve, right? So if you are a man and you're watching this and you don't have that innate desire to serve, or you don't have that innate desire to share the spoils of your success or your power, or even just make way for people, right? By being fair, because we have a lot of situations where there are people in positions of power who make decisions that affect people's lives, and they make very unjust, unfair decisions, unfortunately. And that is not a trait of a healthy masculine. That's actually a tyrannical type of person, right? So I'm going to end this with, if you want to be more masculine, try to be more fair in your dealings. Try to look at things very objectively. Look at things in a way where it's like merit, right? If they did this, they get this. If they did this, they get this. Sometimes you can just give them just because maybe you're in a good mood, right? And when I say give, it doesn't have to be actually giving someone something. You could give a compliment. You could give a word of encouragement. You could empathize with someone going through something. That's all a form of giving, right? So in your dealings as a masculine or as an aspiring masculine man, you want to be fair in all your dealings, in business, in your relationships, every aspect of your life. You want to be fair, right? So that's all I got for fairness. I'll hand it over to Chris so he can hit you with the next one.
Number 4 that I'm going to talk to you about is discipline. Nobody likes this one, and I understand, right? Everybody likes motivation. You know, you want to be fired up. Before you do something, you want to feel like you want to do it. I mean, somebody wrote a book, I think it was Mel Robbins, who said most of the decisions that we make is emotional. I think she even pushed it as far as 90-something%, right? You get up and go to the gym because you feel like. You go to your friend's party because you feel like. You don't want to go to work because you don't feel like, right? You're not always going to have the motivation to want to do things. And that's where discipline comes in. And discipline actually takes you way further than motivation will. Motivation is beautiful, right? You want to be fired up. You want to feel like, oh, you could go out there and conquer the world, which is great. I love it. But trust me, 80% of the time, maybe 70% of the time, you're not going to feel motivated, right? And what do you do at those times? Discipline comes in, because with discipline, you're able to create the right habits that last with you for as long as possible. So as long as that particular habit continues to serve you, you keep it. And it's only with discipline that you can start actually forming habits. I think Atomic Habits, I can't remember who the author was, said it takes you about 21 days to form a habit. And for it to last with you to a point whereby you don't even have to think about it. Like when you wake up in the morning, you know the first thing you do is you go brush your teeth, you go take a shower, or whatever it is that you do. It's already automatic for you at this point, right? But you need discipline to be able to get to the first 21 days and to be able to take it all the way to 90 days to a point where it becomes completely automatic. But does discipline come easy? Hell no, it does not, right? You're going to have to do things not because you feel like doing them, but you're going to have to do it because you need to do it. I've never in my life seen anyone hit his goals or her goals consistently without discipline. Because without the discipline, you're not even going to have consistency, all right? So the discipline is extremely important. And with that, I'll pass it on to Coco to give you number 5.
Okay, so healthy masculine value number 5 to embody is a love for family.
Beautiful.
Right? In the modern society, there's an attack on the nuclear family unit. There's this propaganda trying to pull all the units of the family in various directions. We have the letters people trying to, get the kids. We have the feminist movement trying to pull women from men. We have the red pill movement, manosphere movement, which we are not a part of, right? Just to clarify things, which are like, yeah, women are bad and women did this and women did that and they're not feminine and they're too masculine, all this stuff, right? Basically, from what we see now, the red pill manosphere is essentially the male version of the feminist movement right now, right? Because they're both anti-marriage. Personally, I believe in marriage. I believe in holding the family unit together. And if you don't believe in holding the family unit together, then you, my friend, are lacking some aspect of your masculinity, because it's ingrained within you to want to leave a legacy. And if you're going to leave a legacy, you better do it the right way. Because I was with Chris as we were preparing today to shoot this content, and he was watching this video. I'm like, dude, what are you watching? And they're talking about Joe Biden and his daughter and his son. son and all this stuff. And the stuff that was coming out, you could see that man was a poor leader in his household because, bruh, that's all I got to say on that. But the whole point, let me circle it back. The whole point of me bringing that up is, as a masculine man, if you do not value your family and embody the value of sacrifice, you may have a family like Joe Biden's family. God forbid. But if you don't hold your household together, and holding your household begins with having the mindset of being family oriented, right? If you're not family oriented, you think you can live anyway. Because once you get married, I believe your wife should hold you accountable to certain things. The same way you should hold her accountable to certain things. In the Bible, it says the two become one. They didn't say they live in the same house. And no, the two become one, which means they take one decision together. That's it. If we're having rice, we're having rice. It's not we're having rice and we're having pasta. The two must become one for harmony, which means both have to die to self every single day, right? But you as the man have to have that mindset from the onset so you can attract a woman who has a similar mindset, which is family oriented, so you can build a healthy, solid family structure. And on that note, I'm gonna hand it over to Chris to hit you with the sixth healthy masculine value.
Number 6 that I'm about to hit you with is duty. Okay, when you think about duty, what pops in your mind? I'll tell you what pops in my mind when I think about duty. I think about my purpose. What's the reason why God has created me to be here on earth? Number 1 is to worship, is to serve him, is to love him. And then I transfer that same love that I have for him to my neighbor. And who's my neighbor? My neighbor is my family. My neighbor is everyone that I come in contact with. So I have that duty not only to God, to myself, but also to my community, to my family. And my brother Coco here just talked about family, right? So what does that mean for you right now? Whether you're married, whether you're single, what does that mean for you right now? Do you have a job? Okay, you have a duty to your company. You have a duty to provide for yourself. You have a duty, maybe if you attend a church or a mosque, I don't know, whatever it is for you. You have a duty to your church. You have a duty to everyone that you come in contact with, okay? You're not just here just for yourself. I know we all have some form of selfishness in us because we're always thinking about ways to better ourselves. But what you would notice is even while you're trying to better yourself, you gain skills, you gain money, you gain values that can also be beneficial to other people. So when you're thinking about your duty, I want you to think of service first to God, service to yourself, and then service to the people that are around you. That's how you should think about duty. And this is what you do every day. There's no off day when it comes to duty, right? Every day, this is the kind of person you are. This is what your purpose is, and you hammer at it every single day. You stay consistent with it, right? And with that, I hit number 7 over to Coco.
All right, so I want to add one more thing to what Chris was saying about duty. When God created man first, right? Before even Eve came into the picture, God gave man work. What's work? Duty, right? So we are supposed to be doing something. We're supposed to be busy on the planet. Like Chris was saying, we're not just here for ourselves. We all serve a higher purpose. So before I dive into this next value, hit the like button or subscribe if you're getting value from this episode, and share it with someone that you know that will get value from this, right? Don't hoard it to yourself. Don't be greedy. It's your duty to share this.
Now your duty, God.
Remember,
Your masculine God. Now your duty.
All right,
come on, man.
let's dive into the next one. Healthy masculine value number 7, which is resilience. Now, as a man, I don't know if you watch any medieval shows. Lately, I've watched The Last Kingdom. I've watched Vikings again for the second time. I'm watching Marco Polo again for the second time. A lot of these medieval TV shows on Netflix, on whichever platform that you watch it, right? And you can see that the men of those times had a never, like the brave warriors of those times had a never give up spirit, no matter what happened, right? I remember in Last Kingdom, the main character's name is Uhtred. I remember Uhtred at the beginning of the show, his brother died, his father was killed in front of him as he was a kid, and he was taken captive by Vikings. He was raised by Vikings, grew to love them, and then one day, another pair of Vikings came and killed his entire Viking family, leaving him and one girl. Then he goes on, gets married to this girl, has a kid. The woman ends up not wanting him. Their child dies, has to move on, marries another girl. That woman ends up getting beheaded, had 2 children with another woman. They grew up. One of his children, his son particularly, had his balls chopped off, you know. A lot of emotional and physical trauma. Oh, and there was one part that was probably his toughest part. He was sold into slavery by some people that he went and fought and trusted, and they just gave him away to slavers. And he went through a crazily traumatic ordeal during that period. And this was in medieval times. Medieval times is generally traumatic. There's PTSD everywhere. Everyone's traumatized, right? But what he went through was a different kind of psychological trauma. And when he came back, he was still able to do his duties, right? Regardless of all the emotional shit that was going on within him, he was able to compartmentalize, put everything aside, and focus on what was more important, which is his duty. So, in order to be a masculine man, a truly masculine man, you have to develop the character trait or the value system of being resilient in everything you do, in your career pursuit, in your relationship, when conflict arises, when you have misunderstandings, in your friendly relationships, when something happens, instead of just like leaving things to be how like most people in this generation act like they don't care when they really do care. It is a resilient trait to go against the odds and fix things, right? So you want to be more masculine, be more resilient in everything you do. And what's one way you can grow resilience? I'll leave you one tip. Hit the gym.
Wow.
Hit the gym.
Wow.
Carry the weights.
Word. Facts.
Get into the calisthenics.
Facts.
Weight training. Start jogging. Jog a mile, right? The more you can push your body to do, the more resilient you become. And you can apply that resilience that you gain from your physical training to the other aspects of your life. And on that note, I will pass the 8th masculine value to Chris.
Beautiful, man. Number 8 is focus. In today's world, especially in the digital epidemic that we're in right now, the attention span of the average human being is like that of a goldfish.
7 seconds.
7 seconds. Come on, man. How did it get that bad? What's really happening here? When was the last time you spent 30 minutes to an hour laser focused on one thing? Not scrolling, multitasking, like a lot of people would like to say. Tell me one thing that you've been able to achieve in your life without laser focus. Crickets, right? None. There's no multitasking when it comes to focus, right? I look at my life and I have been able to gain all this information, all this knowledge, all this wisdom. It has all come from focusing on one thing at a time. It could be when I'm reading books, when I'm in the gym, when I'm making sales calls. I'm a copywriter. When I'm writing copy, when I'm doing the research for the copy, when I'm hanging out with my man over here, Coco. Maybe we go to a bar, just having a few drinks. We're laser focused on our conversation at that given point in time. Even when we're doing our masterminds on the phone, right? We're laser focused on one topic at a particular time. And that's how you can even get results, from whatever it is that you're doing. You're not going to get results if you're just, flailing all over the place, right? Your mind is not focused on that one thing that you're supposed to be doing at a particular time. Maybe if you have a problem with staying focused because of course you've lost your attention span, and I don't blame you for that, give yourself 15 minutes of focus at a time and then 5 minutes break right after that, and then you go back in for another 15 minutes. This is how you're able to extract enough value from what it is that you're doing, and you're even showing your work, right? You want to be able to hit things efficiently. You want whatever it is that you're doing to be effective. You want to be able to gain good results from the work that you put in, and it can only really come from focus. If your mind is scattered, it will show in your results. It will show in your work, and that's not going to help you if you truly want to be masculine, because one of the most important things about a man who is truly masculine is that he produces consistent results. Right? It's not going up and down this way, right? It's not a sinusoidal graph. The results have to remain consistent, and that can only be achieved through laser focus on one thing at a time. And with that, I'll pass it on to Coco to give you number 9.
Awesome. So, healthy masculine value number 9. And that's the one that I know the women will be happy to hear about. So let's get right into it. Financial independence. Now, the true mark of a man who is standing on his own square is that he is financially independent. That means he relies on no one to help him with his financial issues, with his day-to-day expenses, with the duties that he has in relation to his family, his wife, or maybe his significant other, his children, his business partner. If he has a business partner, maybe he doesn't have a business, maybe he's an employee. But whatever the case, if you're a man, you need to find a way to become financially independent, because life is full of problems, and most of these problems can be solved with money. Can money solve every problem? No, it can't. But if you do have the money, you can take care of people who are sick. You can pay people's school fees. You can give people opportunity. You can invest in people's businesses. You can change people's livelihoods, right? So as a man, it's part of your duty on this earth to become financially independent. In 2020, I read a book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. I'm not sure if that's the way to pronounce the name, but I'm sure if you look it up, it will come up. And the book said that it is our duty as humans. He didn't even specify to men. He said it is our duty as human beings to make as much money that we can make within our lifetime, because God created us as human beings to express. And in order for us to express in this material world, we need money to express. You want to dress nicely? You need money. You want to make impact? You want to change orphans' lives? You need money. You want to provide opportunity for the less fortunate? You need money. You want to provide drinking water for the village and somewhere and wherever? You need money to do the borehole, right? So if you don't have the finances, then you're lacking in your masculinity. And every man who's watching this knows that when you're not financially independent, when you're not financially secure in yourself, your confidence is just easily swayed. Me and Chris strongly believe that the money does not make the man, but the man does need money, because life is expensive, period. Especially in today's world, where the housing market is the most ridiculous it's ever been. Interest rates are the most ridiculous they've ever been. Everything's just rising sky high, and salaries are not increasing. What does that mean? It means the outliers, the men, right? This comes to the men and some women who embody their masculinity. We need masculinity to come into the picture to create finances to alleviate the pressure, right? So on that note, I just want to say one more thing, which is, if you don't know what you want to do with your life in terms of to make money, you got to figure out what industry you want to be in first. You want to be in manufacturing. You want to be in agriculture. You want to be in oil and gas. You want to be in education. You want to be a teacher. Maybe you want to own an institution. You want to be in
banking,
finance. You want to be in the beauty industry. You want to be a movie star. Whatever it is that you want to do, you need to figure it out. Choose your industry. Make sure that the industry is proven, meaning there are already people in the industry doing what you want to do, making the kind of money that you want to make. And then from there, you can figure out the rest. That's the first tip. Figuring out what industry you want to be in, and then dedicating at least a decade, maybe 2, maybe 3 of your life to that industry. If you do that, financial independence is inevitable for you. If you do that. And that's all I got for you. So I'm gonna give it to Chris so he hits you with the last and final healthy masculine value.
Now, before I hit you with number 10, I want you to do me a favor. If this is your first time of joining this podcast, I want you to support the podcast by liking, commenting, and subscribing. You may even do yourself a favor and us a favor by sharing this with somebody that you love so that they can get some real strong values from what we're sharing here. We want this podcast to grow. We want this information to get to the men that need to hear this kind of stuff, right? There's not a lot of people doing it here, right here in Africa. He's from Ghana, I'm from Nigeria, and we've gotten this information, and we don't feel that it will be fair for us to just keep it within ourselves.
It's our duty.
It's our own duty to make an impact, and that's the reason why we're doing this. Nobody's paying us to do this. So I want you guys to go ahead and support us by liking, commenting, sharing this video, and most importantly, subscribing. And hit that bell notification so you know when next we have another post. Now, without further ado, let me get you to number 10. Very, very important. It is firmness. If you've been on the YouTube spaces lately, not only YouTube but social media, you hear a lot of content creators say standing on business. Okay, so What does that
10
mean?
toes.
10 toes deep, right? What does that mean? It means you set boundaries, not only for others, but for yourself. So when you set goals, that's you setting boundaries. When you are a man and you have a program, that's you setting boundaries. But first things first, you have to follow your own boundaries, okay? Before you expect others to do it, you have to lead by example, right? And I'll give you an example right now. I believe in integrity. I believe in mutual respect, okay? So first of all, I would respect my own self, right? I'm not gonna treat myself like garbage, okay? I watch the kind of food I put into my body. I watch how I spend my time, right? I wanna make sure that I put my time into something that's valuable, that will give me returns for whatever activity that I'm engaging in, the kind of people that I choose to hang around. And I'm doing all this because I have love for myself and I have respect for myself. Now, in doing that, I would attract mainly those who share the same values and principles. But there will be those odd times when people might want to encroach on your personal space. They might be rude to you, right? It's on you knowing fully well what your values are. And for me, it's self-respect to not tolerate something like that. So I'm going to be firm in that instance. And that's what many of these content creators call standing on business. So if I say something, I'm saying it because I actually believe in it. And if anyone challenges me on what I've said, I will stay firm, standing on business on what I've said. So that's exactly what it means to be firm. And as a man, imagine if you say something and then you're challenged on it and then you switch up.
All the time.
If you actually watch somebody do that, you're not ever going to say that man is a masculine man. The first thing you're going to ask yourself is, why is he switching up?
Respect gone like that.
It's gone, right? You said it. It's okay to come out and say, okay, you know what? I said it. I admit I was wrong. That's still being firm. That's still standing on business. There's nothing wrong with accepting that you were wrong about something. But to switch up and say you never said that? Come on, man.
Stop the cap.
Stop the cap. Like, what are we doing? So you have to make sure that you stay firm with the goals that you set for yourself, with who you say that you are, before you expect it to even extend to other people. Because trust me, how you treat yourself, how you view yourself is how others are going to view you. You cannot expect others to treat you better than you even treat yourself. Makes absolutely no sense. So if you cannot be firm with your own decisions, with your own program, with your own goal, with your own values, with your own principles, and most importantly, with your own masculinity, then how's anybody outside of you going to take you seriously? It's not going to happen. Now, with that, we've come to the end of episode 3, where we've shared with you another 10 healthy masculine values that you have to embody to build that strong foundation, right? And if you have missed episode 2, I implore you to go back and check it out. We shared the first 10 values in episode 2, and also check out episode 1 as well.
All right, so it looks like Chris has said everything he has to say. I'm fresh out of ideas because, it was only 10 we were supposed to give you anyway, so we didn't plan for more than 10. So on that note, this is where we leave you guys. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. We will tap in on the next episode.
See you in the next one, man. Peace.
Peace.